Hello, my name is Jess and welcome to the Storyteller Fox. Come along and listen to read aloud books, be it for bedtime, story time, or simply to read along.
Have you heard of a famous author named Agatha Christie? Well, she is famous for writing lots of mystery novels and thrill stories, and also crime ones. Let's go through the biography of Agatha Christie and see how she became a famous writer. Little People, Big Dreams, Agatha Christie. Written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Elisa Muzo. Little People, Big Dreams, Agatha Christie. Written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Elisa Muzo. Translated by Raquel Plicht. Little Agatha and her mum read a book together every afternoon. Agatha always had a better idea for how the story should end. In bed, Agatha went on reading until she fell asleep. Detective novels were her favorite. But then a war started, and young Agatha had to put her books aside. It was time for her to help wounded soldiers in a hospital. But Agatha's imagination wouldn't stay quiet. As a nurse, she learned about poisons and toxic potions, which could cause someone to meet a sticky end. After the war, Agatha used what she had learned to write her own stories. They always started with a mysterious murder. Who could solve such terrible crimes? Agatha invented Hercule Poirot, a detective able to decipher any dastardly deed. That is him, Hercule Poirot. Carrying her typewriter, Agatha traveled the world. People read with wonder as Poirot solved crime after crime. Agatha reached the Middle East, where she was inspired to write a mystery that Poirot couldn't crack. So she invented Miss Marple to take the case. She looked more like a granny than a detective, but Agatha knew that appearances could be deceiving. And soon everyone loved Miss Marple as much as Poirot. They read Agatha's adventures before going to bed. And gulped and gasped at them in the theatre. Agatha wrote more than 100 books and invented enough victims to fill a cemetery. But she was always pondering her next mystery. Luckily, Agatha knew that any mystery can be solved if you use your imagination. Let's go through the history line of Agatha Christie. She was born in 1890 and she died in 1976. This is a picture of young Agatha in 1900s. Then coming forward, this is another picture of her in 1926. As you can see here, this is a picture of her writing at 1946. And lastly, another picture of Agatha, 1967. Agatha Christie was born Agatha Marie Creasy Miller in 1890 in Devon, England. During the war, Agatha worked as a nurse and also dispensed medicines at the hospital. Her new expertise in poisons was put to good use when she began writing her own detective stories. In 1919, a publisher accepted The Mysterious Affair at Styles for publication, which was the first novel to feature the famous detective Hercule Poirot, a keen traveler. In 1922, she journeyed across the British Empire, and in 1928, she was inspired by her journey on the Orient Express to write one of her most famous novels, Murder on the Orient Express. Then in 1925, Agatha inspired her own mystery when she disappeared, leading to a nationwide hunt. She was eventually found safe and sound in a hotel. As time went on, Agatha continued to write, inventing her other beloved investigator, the elderly Miss Marple. Agatha Christie became the best-selling novelist of all time. Her books had been translated into more than 100 languages, and her novel, And Then There Were None, is one of the 10 most read books in history. With her peculiar characters, her enigmatic cases, and her stories full of twists and turns, she challenged the minds of millions of readers, becoming the Queen of Mystery.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyteller Fox. Be it for bedtime or simply just to listen to audio picture storybooks, welcome here at the Storyteller Fox. In my hands, I have a book of a little girl called Anne Frank. She is famous for her diary, it's a book by Little People, Big Dreams, written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Sveta Durajiva. Let's see how her journey is that she wrote and her diary became famous. See what it's all about. Little People, Big Dreams, Anne Frank, written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Sveta Durajiva.
was a little Jewish girl who was born in Germany. She lived happily with her parents and her older sister Margot in the city of Frankfurt. But when she was 4, an ugly man with a little black mustache became the leader of her country. His name was Hitler. He hated the Jews and wanted them to disappear. Anne's family moved away to Holland, which was a free country. Anne's father opened a business, and they had a home where they felt safe. But one day, the Nazis invaded half of Europe and arrived in Holland. Anne and all the other Jewish children were forced to go to separate schools and wear a star on their chest. For her 13th birthday, Anne's parents gave her a diary. That day, she discovered the pleasure of writing on her own. Anne wrote in her diary about how her family lived in fear of being arrested. They decided to leave their home and move to a secret annex behind a bookshelf at the building where her father worked. They had to share their tiny new home with another Jewish family and stay very quiet. They could not leave their hiding place in case anyone found them. Anne's diary kept her company, and she wrote in it for hours. She wanted to publish a book and became a famous writer. But one day, Anne stopped writing. The Nazi soldiers had found them and they were all arrested. Anne's diary was left behind in her room. The family were pushed onto a train full of people on its way to a concentration camp. It took 3 long days for them to arrive at the worst place on earth. Anne's father, Otto, was the only member of the family to survive the terrible war. He found her diary and wept as he read what his young daughter had written. He decided to publish the diary and share Anne's story just as he would have wanted the world had to know the true story. Since then, millions of people have read and cried with the diary of Anne Frank, the story of the little girl who dreamt of a better world. And this is the biography of Anne Frank. She was born in 1929 and she died in 1945. This is a small picture of her in 1931. And as she grew up, another picture of her at 1935. This is Anne in 1941. And another picture of Anne Frank in 1942. Anneliese Frank was born in Germany to a happy family, but when she was 4, a cruel government called the Nazi Party came into power. It was led by a man named Adolf Hitler, a dictator who forced Germans to follow his unjust rule. The Nazis hated many races, especially Jews, and brought in discriminatory rules against them. Anne's family had to move to Holland in order to be safe. But in 1939, the Nazi Party started World War II and began invading other countries, including Holland. In 1942, things got worse, and the Frank family had to go into hiding. They hid in a secret annex, tucked behind a bookshelf at Otto Frank's work. They hoped they wouldn't be arrested. Here, Anne kept a diary. She wanted to tell her story of the war and for people to read it. In 1944, German police broke into the annex and arrested Anne's family. They were all sent to concentration camps. Concentration camps were prisons where many Jews were forced to work. There was little food, lots of people, and disease spread quickly. Most people did not survive. Anne died at the Bergen-Belsen camp in 1945. Weeks before, it was freed by Allied forces. After the war, Otto found her diary and published her story, as she would have wanted. Anne became one of the most loved diaries in the world and captured the hearts of minds of the public. She lives on through her words and in all those who read her story. Hello, boys and girls. How are you? How was your school today? Well, I hope you had a fun time and you learned new things and you made lots of new friends and even spent a great amount of time having fun and mingling with your friends. This is a book about at school. It's written by Cecil Kim, illustrated by Meek Morishi, edited by Joy Cowley. Let's see what this story is about. At School, written by Cecil Kim, illustrated by Meek Morishi, edited by Joy Cowley. Read aloud by the Storyteller Fox. Wake up, Annie. It's time for school. Have fun with friends, Annie. I like to ride in the yellow bus. Looks like the school bus, doesn't it? going past the town. I like to play with my friends. Do you like to play with your friends too? You can see Annie here is looking excited to meet her friends. I like my teacher. She welcomes me with a hug. It's fun to play on the slide. I like to play in the ball pool. Look how fun it is. It's snack time. Everybody likes snacks. What's your favorite snack? Do you like to have snack at school as well? You can see Annie's with her peers here, eating their snacks together. Story time is fun. I like storybooks. It is fun to sing with friends. I like to paint. I want to learn numbers. It is time to go home. Annie's ready to go home. I miss you, Annie. Mom, I miss you too. The end.
The end. And that's the end of our story time. For more bedtime stories, you can check on our YouTube playlist or listen to more storytime compilations at the Storyteller Fox. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.